Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world that moves more slowly than our own. The night is still. The air is warm. Somewhere beyond the darkness, a quiet river drifts through the land. Its water reflects a sky crowded with stars. Along its banks stand small homes built from earth, wood, and baked clay. Their walls hold the heat of the day, though the evening breeze has finally begun to soften the air. This is ancient India. Long before modern cities, long before engines and electric lights, millions of ordinary people lived their lives beneath these same stars. Most were not kings. Most were not warriors. Their names have disappeared into history. Yet they woke each morning, worked beneath the sun, shared meals with their families, and rested when night returned. Tonight, we will spend time among them. We will walk slowly through their villages and towns. We will listen to the sounds that filled their days. We will feel the warmth of the sun on dusty roads and the coolness of evening beside the water. The night grows deeper. A few oil lamps still burn inside the village. Their small flames flicker gently against mud-plastered walls. Shadows move softly across the floor as families settle down to sleep. Some lie on woven mats. Others rest on simple wooden platforms covered with blankets made from cotton. The room is quiet except for the occasional rustle of fabric and the distant barking of a dog somewhere beyond the village. The day has been long. Most people here work with their hands. Their bodies carry the tiredness of labor. Their shoulders ache. Their feet are dusty from walking. Sleep comes easily. Outside, the village slowly becomes silent. The marketplace that was busy only hours ago now sits empty beneath the moonlight. Wooden stalls stand quietly in neat rows. Clay jars wait for tomorrow. Baskets sit beside closed doorways. A faint smell of grain still lingers in the air. Nearby, a narrow path leads toward the river. The water moves steadily through the darkness. Even at night, the river remains important. It provides drinking water, water for crops, and a place for washing. During the day it is full of activity. But now it moves almost unnoticed beneath the stars. A fisherman sleeps nearby. His boat rests on the shore. Tomorrow he will wake before sunrise. For now, his nets are folded neatly beside him. The night continues. Hours pass. Gradually, the eastern horizon begins to lighten. At first the change is almost impossible to see. The stars remain visible overhead. The village remains asleep. But slowly, very slowly, darkness begins to loosen its hold on the land. Morning is coming. The first sounds appear. A bird calls from a tree. Another answers. Somewhere a goat shifts in its enclosure. Then a door opens. A farmer steps outside. The air is cooler now than it will be later. He pauses for a moment, looking across the fields. Soon the heat will return, but these early hours belong to the workers who rise before the sun. More doors begin to open. The village is waking. Women prepare cooking fires. Thin streams of smoke rise into the pale sky. Clay pots are placed above glowing coals. Water begins to warm. The smell of grain cooking spreads through the air. Children still sleep. The adults move quietly around them. Breakfast is simple but important. A long day of labor waits ahead. As sunlight slowly reaches the rooftops, the village becomes busier. Farmers gather tools. Oxen are led from shelters. Water jars are filled. Voices remain calm and low. Life follows routines that have existed for generations. The nearby fields stretch across the landscape. Some hold wheat. Others hold rice. Depending on the region, different crops grow beneath the sun. Every season brings its own work. Every harvest depends upon weather, water, and patience. The farmer begins his walk. His sandals press gently into the dusty path. The earth is dry beneath his feet. He passes neighbors doing the same. There is no hurry. The day is long enough. Soon the fields fill with workers. The sun rises higher. Golden light spreads across the land. For a little while the temperature remains pleasant. People take advantage of these precious hours. Hands move steadily through rows of crops. Seeds are planted. Weeds are removed. Irrigation channels are checked. Water is guided carefully toward thirsty plants. Agriculture shapes nearly every part of life. Without successful harvests, villages struggle. With good harvests, families feel secure. So much depends on these quiet routines. As the morning continues, the village behind them becomes fully awake. Merchants prepare for trade. Potters begin their work. Carpenters open their workshops. The smell of fresh clay mixes with the scent of wood shavings and cooking fires. In one corner of the settlement, a potter sits beside his wheel. His hands are strong from years of practice. A lump of clay spins slowly before him. With gentle pressure, a vessel begins to take shape. The movement is smooth and familiar. He has made hundreds like it. Perhaps thousands. Water jars. Storage pots. Cooking vessels. Simple objects that become part of everyday life. Nearby, another craftsman works with cotton. Ancient India was known for its textiles. Threads pass carefully through skilled fingers. The work requires patience. Hour after hour, fabric slowly grows. The rhythm is calming. The steady movement becomes almost meditative. As the sun climbs higher, the temperature rises. The cool morning begins to disappear. Shadows grow shorter. Workers wipe sweat from their foreheads. The heat settles across the land. Yet work continues. People are accustomed to these conditions. They know how to pace themselves. They understand the value of shade. A tree becomes a welcome place to rest. A wall offers relief from direct sunlight. Water is precious. Every sip matters. By midday, the village seems quieter. The intense heat encourages slower movement. Animals seek shelter. People speak less. Many pause for a simple meal. Flatbread. Rice. Lentils. Vegetables. Food is practical and nourishing. Families gather when possible. For a short time, labor gives way to rest. The shade feels wonderful. A breeze passes through. Eyes grow heavy. Some workers close them briefly before returning to their tasks. The afternoon stretches onward. Dust hangs in the warm air. The sunlight becomes softer. The hardest part of the day gradually passes. In the distance, travelers move along ancient roads. Merchants carry goods between towns. Their journeys are slow. Sandals strike the ground with steady rhythm. Ox carts creak beneath heavy loads. Roads connect communities across great distances. Along them travel stories, news, and goods from faraway places. But even these travelers eventually seek rest. Everyone lives according to the same cycle. Morning work. Afternoon heat. Evening relief. Nighttime sleep. As the sun begins to lower, shadows return. The landscape changes color. Golden light touches fields and rooftops. Workers start making their way home. The farmer walks once more along the dusty path. His muscles are tired. His clothing carries the smell of earth and sunlight. Yet there is satisfaction in the routine. The crops have been tended. The work of the day is complete. Children play near the houses. Goats return to their enclosures. Smoke rises again from cooking fires. The village gathers itself for evening. Voices become warmer. Families reunite. Meals are prepared. The sky slowly turns orange, then pink, then deep blue. One by one, the first stars appear. The river reflects the fading light. Its surface remains calm. It has watched countless days pass. Countless mornings. Countless evenings. Generations have come and gone beside its waters. Yet the river continues its quiet journey. As darkness settles once more across ancient India, lamps glow softly inside homes. People eat, talk, and rest. The heat finally begins to leave the earth. A gentle breeze drifts through open doorways. The village becomes quieter. The day's labor slowly fades into memory. Soon the workers will sleep again. And while they rest beneath the endless stars, another peaceful night will settle over the ancient world. The night deepens over the village. The last conversations drift away like smoke rising into the dark sky. One by one, oil lamps are extinguished. Small flames disappear behind clay walls. Shadows settle into corners. The quiet grows thicker. Only a few sounds remain. A distant owl calls from somewhere near the trees. A dog shifts in its sleep. The soft movement of river water continues beyond the fields. Most people are asleep now. The farmer who spent the day beneath the sun lies on a woven mat beside his family. His body feels heavy. His hands are rough from years of work. Small cuts and scratches mark his skin. They are ordinary signs of a life spent outdoors. Beside him, his children sleep peacefully. Tomorrow will be much like today. The same fields. The same paths. The same familiar faces. Yet no one thinks much about tomorrow tonight. Sleep comes quickly after a day of labor. Outside, moonlight washes gently across the village. The narrow paths appear silver beneath the stars. Clay walls glow softly in the darkness. Storage jars cast long shadows across quiet courtyards. A warm breeze drifts through the settlement. It carries the scent of earth, grain, and distant water. Hours pass slowly. The moon continues its journey overhead. In one home, an elderly woman wakes briefly. Age has made her sleep lighter than it once was. She listens to the silence for a moment. She hears the familiar sounds of the night. Nothing unusual. Everything is as it should be. Soon she closes her eyes again. The village rests. Far beyond the fields, another village sleeps beneath the same sky. Beyond that, another. Across the vast lands of ancient India, countless families settle into darkness. Farmers, potters, weavers, fishermen, merchants, builders, and servants all share this same peaceful rhythm. The stars watch over them all. Eventually, the darkest hour arrives. This is the quiet time before dawn. The air feels cooler now. Even the insects seem quieter. The village appears almost frozen beneath the night sky. Then, very gradually, morning begins its slow return. The eastern horizon brightens with the faintest hint of gray. Birds wake before people do. A few soft calls echo from nearby trees. Leaves rustle gently. The world prepares itself for another day. The first worker to rise is often not the farmer. Sometimes it is a woman tending the household. She wakes while the stars are still visible. Her day begins before sunrise. She steps carefully across the floor so as not to wake the others. The air inside the house feels cool compared to the warmth that will arrive later. She kneels beside the cooking area. Ashes from the previous evening remain in the hearth. Soon a new fire begins to glow. Tiny sparks dance in the darkness. The smell of smoke slowly fills the room. Water is poured into clay vessels. Grain is prepared. The simple work of feeding a family begins again. Outside, more homes begin to wake. Faint columns of smoke rise toward the brightening sky. The village slowly emerges from sleep. A rooster calls. Another answers. Doors creak open. Footsteps appear along the paths. The first sunlight touches the tops of trees. For a brief moment, the world feels fresh and cool. People cherish these early hours. The heat has not yet arrived. The day's labor has not yet begun. There is a sense of calm before movement fills the village. Near the river, fishermen prepare their boats. The water reflects pale shades of gold and silver. Mist hangs low above the surface. Everything appears soft and peaceful. A fisherman untangles his nets. His fingers move carefully through the rope. Years of practice have made the task almost automatic. He barely needs to think about it. Nearby, another fisherman pushes a small boat into the water. The river accepts it quietly. Gentle ripples spread across the surface. Soon the boats drift away from shore. The fishermen know these waters well. They understand the currents. They know where fish gather. The river provides food for many families. It also provides something less visible. It offers a steady presence. Season after season. Year after year. The river remains. Back in the village, children begin waking. Sleepy eyes blink against the morning light. Small feet touch cool floors. Some children help with chores immediately. Others linger beside their parents for a little while. Childhood in ancient India often includes work from an early age. Not because anyone wishes hardship upon them. Simply because every pair of hands helps. Life requires cooperation. Families depend on one another. Even simple tasks matter. Fetching water. Carrying grain. Gathering fuel. Watching animals. Each chore becomes part of daily life. As the morning grows brighter, activity spreads across the settlement. The potter returns to his wheel. The carpenter sharpens his tools. The weaver settles beside the loom. The blacksmith prepares his small furnace. Every craft has its own sounds. The spinning of wheels. The tapping of tools. The creaking of wood. The rustle of cloth. Together they create the gentle music of village life. The blacksmith's workshop grows warm quickly. Even in the early hours, heat gathers around the furnace. Sweat forms on his forehead. The metal glows softly within the fire. Patiently he shapes tools needed by farmers and craftsmen. His work supports many others. A strong blade can make farming easier. A sturdy tool can save valuable time. Each object is created through steady effort. Nothing arrives quickly. Everything requires labor. Nearby, a group of women walk toward a well carrying clay jars. The path is familiar. They have walked it countless times. The jars rest against their hips or balance carefully upon their heads. Conversation flows softly among them. The morning air carries their voices. Water is one of life's constant needs. Every household depends upon it. The work of gathering water repeats day after day. Yet the routine also brings moments of connection. Neighbors speak. Friends share news. Life unfolds through these ordinary interactions. The sun climbs higher. Its warmth becomes noticeable. Shadows begin shrinking. The busiest part of the day approaches. Farmers move steadily through the fields. Oxen pull wooden plows across the earth. Birds circle overhead. Dust rises behind moving feet. The work is demanding. Yet it follows patterns learned across generations. Knowledge passes from parent to child. A farmer understands the soil because his father understood it. His father learned from those who came before. The land itself becomes a teacher. Every season offers lessons. Every harvest provides experience. By midday, sunlight pours heavily across the landscape. The heat settles over everything. Trees stand motionless. Animals seek shade. Workers move more slowly. The air feels thick and bright. Many pause to rest. A farmer sits beneath a tree. His back leans against the trunk. For a few moments he closes his eyes. The shade feels wonderful. A breeze brushes gently across his face. Nearby, others rest as well. Water jars pass from hand to hand. People drink slowly. No one wastes energy. Everyone understands the importance of conserving strength. The afternoon unfolds at an unhurried pace. The village seems quieter now. Even conversations become softer. The heat encourages stillness. Far away, clouds gather over distant hills. Perhaps rain will come in the coming days. Perhaps not. People watch the sky carefully. Rain means life. Rain means healthy crops. Rain means relief from dry conditions. Yet weather remains beyond human control. All anyone can do is wait and hope. As the hours pass, sunlight gradually softens. The harsh brightness of midday begins to fade. Workers feel renewed energy. Tasks that seem difficult beneath the strongest heat become easier. The shadows lengthen. Birdsong returns. The village begins preparing for evening once again. Children laugh near the wells. Goats wander toward home. Cattle move slowly along dusty paths. The familiar rhythm of another day approaches its gentle ending. The farmer gathers his tools. The fisherman returns with his catch. The potter finishes shaping the last vessel of the day. The weaver carefully stores unfinished cloth. One by one, people leave their work behind. The sky glows with warm colors. Gold becomes orange. Orange becomes red. The river mirrors every shade. Its waters shimmer beneath the setting sun. For a few precious moments, the entire landscape seems wrapped in gentle light. Then darkness begins its slow return. Cooking fires appear once more throughout the village. The smell of evening meals drifts through the air. Families gather. Voices mingle softly. The long day loosens its grip. Tired bodies begin to relax. The stars will soon return overhead. The river will continue its quiet journey through the night. And the ordinary people of ancient India, whose names history has mostly forgotten, will once again find rest beneath the vast and peaceful sky. Evening settles gently across the land. The last light of the sun lingers along the horizon, turning the river into a ribbon of copper and gold. The fields, so busy only hours before, now stand quiet. The rows of crops rest beneath the cooling air. Oxen return slowly from the fields, their steady footsteps raising little clouds of dust that glow softly in the fading light. The village feels different now. The urgency of work has disappeared. People move more slowly. A tired calm settles over everything. From many homes comes the scent of cooking grain. Clay pots simmer above small fires. Flatbread bakes on warm surfaces. Lentils cook slowly, filling the evening air with comforting smells that drift through narrow lanes and across open courtyards. Families gather close together. The day's labor is over. For a little while, there is nothing more to do. Children sit beside their parents. Grandparents rest nearby. Stories pass quietly between generations. Some stories are old. They have been told many times before. Yet no one seems to mind. Familiar stories bring comfort. An elderly man sits outside his home. The warmth of the day still lingers in the walls behind him. He watches the sky darken. His face carries the marks of many years spent beneath the sun. He has seen countless seasons. Countless harvests. Countless evenings much like this one. The stars begin appearing one by one. First a few. Then many more. Soon the sky is filled with them. Without bright city lights, the heavens seem endless. The stars shine clearly above the village, above the river, above the forests and fields stretching far into the distance. Many people pause to look upward. The night sky feels close here. Almost within reach. Meanwhile, in another part of the village, a young mother rocks her child gently to sleep. The baby grows quieter. The fire beside them burns softly. Outside, voices fade as families retreat indoors. One by one, doorways become dark. Oil lamps flicker behind small windows. The village slowly prepares for another night. Not everyone sleeps immediately. Some tasks still remain. A merchant sits beneath a lamp, counting goods stored inside his home. Nearby, a weaver examines cloth made earlier in the day. Fingers trace the threads carefully. The work is not rushed. There is time. Night encourages patience. The heat has finally released its grip. A pleasant breeze drifts through the settlement. Leaves rustle softly overhead. The sounds of insects fill the darkness. Far away, a jackal calls. The sound echoes briefly before disappearing into the night. Near the riverbank, fishermen prepare for tomorrow. Nets are inspected carefully. Small tiers are repaired. Knots are tightened. The work requires concentration but not speed. The river will still be there in the morning. There is no reason to hurry. Moonlight reflects from the water. Tiny ripples shimmer beneath the stars. A fisherman pauses and listens. The river has its own voice. Gentle splashes. Soft currents. The quiet movement of water against wood and stone. It is a sound he has heard his entire life. Eventually he gathers his nets and returns home. The village grows quieter still. Hours pass. The moon rises higher. Most people are asleep. Inside one simple home, a potter dreams. Tomorrow he will shape clay once again. His wheel will spin. His hands will move through familiar motions. The work is repetitive. Yet there is comfort in repetition. Each vessel begins as a lump of earth. Each vessel slowly takes form. The process rarely changes. Perhaps that is why it feels so peaceful. Across the village, a farmer sleeps deeply. The muscles in his arms and shoulders finally relax. The long day has left him exhausted. Tomorrow he will rise before sunrise. The crops cannot wait. The seasons move steadily forward. Every day matters. Yet for now, sleep covers him like a blanket. The night continues. The stars cross the sky. A coolness settles over the fields. Dew begins forming on leaves. The world feels hushed. Still. Patient. Eventually, the eastern horizon begins its slow transformation. Darkness softens. The stars nearest the horizon fade first. The village remains asleep. But dawn is approaching. Birds awaken before anyone else notices. A few calls echo through the trees. Then more voices join them. The sounds spread gradually across the landscape. A pale glow appears in the distance. Morning is returning. Once again, a few early risers emerge from their homes. The cycle begins anew. A woman steps outside carrying an empty water jar. The air feels wonderfully cool against her skin. She walks toward the well beneath a sky painted with the first colors of dawn. Pink. Gold. Soft shades of blue. The world seems fresh and untouched. Nearby, smoke rises from the first cooking fires. Tiny sparks dance in the half-light. Breakfast preparations begin. Grain is ground. Water is heated. The familiar routines return. Children sleep a little longer. Adults move quietly around them. Soon enough the village awakens fully. The carpenter opens his workshop. Wood waits beside his tools. He runs his fingers along the grain of a board, studying its shape before beginning work. Every piece of wood is slightly different. Some bend more easily. Some resist. Experience teaches him how to work with each one. A little farther away, the blacksmith has already lit his furnace. The fire glows brighter as the morning progresses. Heat gathers around him despite the coolness of dawn. Metal tools lie arranged nearby. Farmers will need repairs. Builders will need hardware. The village depends on his skill. At the edge of the settlement, merchants prepare for travel. Their journeys may last days or even weeks. Goods are packed carefully. Bundles of cloth. Spices. Pottery. Tools. Every item must survive long distances. Oxen are loaded. Wheels are inspected. Water supplies are checked. Travel is slow in this world. Roads are often rough. Dust follows every journey. Yet trade connects distant communities. A merchant may visit places that many villagers will never see. He may cross rivers, forests, and open plains. He may sleep beneath unfamiliar stars. But no matter how far he travels, the rhythm of life remains similar. People everywhere wake with the sun. Work through the heat. Rest in the evening. Sleep beneath the night sky. As the morning advances, the village becomes alive with activity once again. Voices fill the air. Animals move through the lanes. Children run errands. Craftsmen begin their work. Farmers head toward the fields. The scent of earth rises beneath the growing warmth. Sunlight spreads across rooftops. Another day has begun. Not a day of great battles. Not a day recorded in royal inscriptions. Simply another ordinary day in ancient India. A day lived by people whose names have mostly vanished from history. Yet their lives were full. Full of effort. Full of routine. Full of small moments shared with family and neighbors. And as the sun continues climbing into the sky, the village settles comfortably into the familiar rhythm that has guided countless generations before it, moving forward with patience beneath the endless sweep of heaven. The morning sun continues its slow climb across the sky. Its golden light spreads over the rooftops of the village and reaches the fields beyond. Dew that had gathered during the cool hours of dawn begins to disappear. The earth warms steadily beneath bare feet, sandals, cartwheels, and the hooves of animals making their way toward another day of work. Life unfolds at a familiar pace. Nothing feels rushed. The people of the village know their tasks well. They have performed them countless times before. Their parents performed them. Their grandparents did the same. The rhythm of daily life has been shaped over many generations, becoming as natural as the changing seasons. Near one of the wells, several women continue gathering water. The clay jars are heavy when filled. Some balance them carefully upon their heads. Others carry them against their hips. The journey from the well back to their homes is made slowly and steadily. The path is smooth from years of use. Countless footsteps have worn it into the earth. The women move beneath the growing warmth of the morning. Their conversations drift softly through the air. They discuss crops, family matters, the weather, and the small events that shape village life. The sounds are gentle, comforting. The village feels fully awake now. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Chickens wander through dusty courtyards. Children chase one another between houses before being called back to help with chores. The smell of freshly cooked bread lingers in the air. A baker works beside a clay oven. His hands move with practiced confidence. Dough is shaped, pressed, and placed inside the warmth of the oven. The scent spreads quickly through the nearby lanes. People passing by recognize it immediately. Food is never taken for granted. Every meal represents labor. The labor of planting. The labor of harvesting. The labor of grinding grain. The labor of cooking. Behind each simple loaf lies the effort of many hands. Farther from the village center, farmers work among fields that stretch toward the horizon. The sun has not yet reached its hottest point. These hours are valuable. Tools move steadily through the soil. Water channels are inspected carefully. Young plants are checked for signs of damage. Nothing can be ignored. A successful harvest depends on constant attention. A farmer kneels beside a row of crops. His hands brush gently through the leaves. He studies their condition. The color. The growth. The moisture in the soil. Years of experience have taught him what to look for. The land speaks quietly. He has learned how to listen. A warm breeze moves across the fields. It bends the crop slightly before continuing onward. The sound is soft. Almost like whispering. The farmer pauses briefly and looks toward the distant river. Its waters shimmer beneath the morning light. Though he works far from its banks today, he knows how important it remains. Water is life. Every crop depends upon it. Every family depends upon it. Every village depends upon it. Meanwhile, along the river itself, activity continues. Fishermen guide their boats through calm waters. Their movements are slow and deliberate. Nets are lowered carefully. The river reflects the sky so clearly that it sometimes seems difficult to tell where water ends and heaven begins. A young fisherman works beside his father. The older man speaks only occasionally. Most lessons do not require many words. The son watches, observes, learns through repetition. He studies how the net is held, how it is cast, how it is gathered once more. Knowledge passes quietly from one generation to the next. No written instructions are needed. The river itself becomes the classroom. By late morning, the temperature begins to rise noticeably. Shadows shorten. The sunlight grows brighter. People seek shade whenever possible. A large tree becomes a welcome shelter. Its branches spread wide over a patch of cool earth. Several workers pause beneath it. Water jars rest nearby. The men drink slowly. No one speaks much. The heat encourages silence. The simple act of sitting in the shade feels satisfying. Above them, leaves rustle softly. Birds move among the branches. For a few moments, work can wait. Not far away, a group of builders labor on a new structure. Their materials are simple. Mud bricks, wood, clay, stone. The work requires strength and patience. Bricks are carried carefully into place. Walls rise slowly. Nothing is completed quickly. Every part of the process takes time. The builders know this. No one expects speed. Instead, they focus on steady progress. A wall built carefully may stand for many years. One worker wipes sweat from his brow. The sun feels heavy overhead now. His clothing clings to his skin. Dust covers his arms. Still, he continues. The structure grows little by little beneath the afternoon sky. In another part of the village, a scribe sits inside a shaded room. His work is very different. Instead of lifting bricks or plowing fields, he spends his day with writing materials spread before him. The room remains relatively cool. Outside, sunlight floods the streets. Inside, quiet concentration fills the air. His hand moves steadily across the surface before him. Records must be kept. Transactions noted. Information preserved. The work demands patience and care. Mistakes are difficult to correct. The scribe leans forward slightly as he works. Outside the window, village life continues. Voices rise and fall. Animals move through the lanes. The distant sound of hammering drifts through the warm air. Yet inside the room, there is only the steady movement of his hand. As noon approaches, the heat becomes intense. The entire landscape seems wrapped in sunlight. Roads appear almost white beneath the brightness. The air shimmers above the ground. People move more slowly now. The hottest hours have arrived. Many workers pause for their midday meal. Families gather where shade can be found. Simple foods are shared. Bread, rice, lentils, vegetables, fresh water. The meals are modest. Yet after hours of labor, they bring comfort. A child sits beside his grandfather during the meal. The old man eats slowly. His hands show the marks of a lifetime of work. The child watches him carefully. Perhaps one day he will remember these quiet afternoons. The shade. The warmth. The sound of distant insects. The simple comfort of sharing food together. For now, he only enjoys the moment. Around them, others rest as well. Some close their eyes briefly. Others sit quietly, listening to the wind. The village seems almost sleepy beneath the heavy afternoon heat. Even the animals appear less active. Dogs rest in patches of shade. Goats gather beneath trees. Birds remain hidden among the leaves. Everything waits. Everything slows. Time itself seems to move more gently. Eventually, the sun begins its gradual journey toward evening. The heat remains, but its intensity slowly weakens. A slight breeze returns. Workers rise and continue their tasks. The second half of the day begins. The builder lifts another brick. The farmer returns to his crops. The potter shapes fresh clay. The weaver resumes work at the loom. The familiar rhythm continues. Steady. Predictable. Enduring. Across ancient India, countless villages experience similar afternoons. Different landscapes. Different rivers. Different crops. Yet the routines remain remarkably alike. Ordinary people rise with the sun. Work through the day. Rest when they can. And slowly make their way toward another evening beneath the stars. As the shadows lengthen once more, golden light begins returning to the land. The hardest heat of the day starts to fade. Workers notice it immediately. Bodies feel lighter. Breathing becomes easier. The approach of evening brings quiet relief. A farmer glances toward the horizon. The sunlight has softened. The sky is changing color. Soon he will gather his tools and begin the walk home. But for a few moments longer, he remains in the field, surrounded by the gentle rustling of crops moving in the evening breeze. The village waits ahead. The smell of cooking fires. The comfort of family. The coolness of approaching night. And above it all, the endless sky that has watched over these ordinary lives for countless generations. The evening breeze grows a little stronger as the sun sinks lower toward the horizon. Across the fields, workers begin finishing the final tasks of the day. Tools are cleaned. Animals are gathered. Water channels receive one last inspection before darkness arrives. The light becomes softer with every passing moment. Golden sunlight stretches across the land, turning dust into a gentle haze that glows above the roads. Long shadows reach from trees and buildings. The village seems to slow even further, as if preparing itself for rest. A farmer stands quietly at the edge of his field. For a few moments he simply looks across the crops. The day's work is finished. There is nothing more that can be done until morning. The plants will continue growing through the night. The earth will cool beneath the stars. The farmer takes a slow breath and begins the familiar walk home. His sandals press into the warm dirt path. The road winds between fields and small clusters of trees. He is not alone. Other workers are making the same journey. Some carry tools over their shoulders. Others lead oxen along the dusty paths. A few walk silently, tired from the long hours beneath the sun. The village ahead is beginning to glow with the first signs of evening activity. Thin streams of smoke rise from cooking fires. Voices drift through the air. Children can be heard laughing somewhere near the wells. The sounds feel welcoming after a day spent working beneath the open sky. As people return home, the village becomes lively once again. Not with noise or excitement, but with the gentle movement of daily life. Women prepare evening meals. Children complete small chores before nightfall. Elders settle into familiar places outside their homes. The air smells of bread baking, lentils simmering, and wood smoke rising slowly into the darkening sky. A potter returns from his workshop. His hands are still marked with traces of clay. Tiny particles remain beneath his fingernails despite washing them. He does not mind. Clay has been part of his life for so long that it feels almost natural to carry a little of it home each day. Inside his house, a small oil lamp waits for night. Soon it will cast a warm glow across the room. Nearby, a weaver folds away unfinished cloth. The work will continue tomorrow. The loom stands quietly in the fading light. Threads catch the last rays of the sun before darkness begins to fill the room. Outside, the village animals settle into their nighttime shelters. Goats gather together. Cattle rest after a long day. Chickens climb onto familiar perches. Even the animals seem to understand the rhythm of the evening. The day is ending. Rest is near. As darkness spreads across the landscape, families gather for their evening meal. The meal is often the most peaceful part of the day. Work has ended. The heat is fading. The pressure of labor has lifted, at least for a few hours. People sit together on woven mats or simple floors. Food is shared. Conversation flows gently. Stories are told. Questions are asked. Children speak about small discoveries made during the day. An elder recalls a memory from many years ago. The atmosphere is warm and comforting. A young boy listens carefully as his grandfather speaks. The old man's voice is calm and steady. He describes seasons long past. Years when the rains came early. Years when the river ran especially high. Years when harvests were plentiful. The boy imagines these distant times while watching the flickering lamp nearby. The flame dances softly. Shadows move across the walls. Outside, the sky grows darker. Soon the stars begin to appear. At first only a few can be seen. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Before long, the heavens are crowded with points of light. The night sky above ancient India is breathtaking in its clarity. Without artificial light, every star shines brightly. The great band of stars stretching across the sky seems almost close enough to touch. Many people spend a little time outdoors before sleep. The cooler air feels pleasant after the heat of the day. Neighbors exchange a few final words. Children stare upward at the stars. The sounds of insects grow louder. A gentle breeze moves through the trees. Somewhere beyond the village, a river continues its endless journey through the darkness. Its waters reflect the moonlight. Its currents never stop. Generation after generation has lived beside it. Generation after generation has depended upon it. The river remains constant while human lives pass quietly along its banks. Later in the evening, the village begins to settle. Doors close. Lamps burn lower. Conversations fade. The pathways become empty. The marketplace that was busy earlier now rests in silence. Wooden stalls stand quietly beneath the moonlight. Baskets and jars wait patiently for another day. The silence deepens. Inside their homes, people prepare for sleep. A mother arranges blankets for her children. A father stretches tired muscles after a long day in the fields. An elderly woman quietly folds a piece of cloth before placing it beside her sleeping mat. These small routines are repeated every night. Simple actions. Familiar actions. The kind of habits that bring comfort after years of repetition. Soon the village sleeps. Only a few lamps remain visible. Their faint glow shines through cracks in doorways and small windows. Then even those lights disappear. Darkness settles completely. The moon rises higher overhead. Its pale light washes across rooftops, trees, and roads. The village appears peaceful. Almost dreamlike. A traveler passing in the night might see only a cluster of quiet homes beneath the stars. He would never know the countless stories hidden behind those walls. The hopes. The worries. The friendships. The memories. The ordinary moments that fill human lives. Most of those stories will never be recorded. No scribe will write them down. No monument will preserve them. Yet they matter deeply to the people living them. A child's first steps. A successful harvest. A shared meal. A quiet evening beside family. These moments form the true fabric of daily life. Hours pass. The night air grows cooler. Dew begins to form once again. The village remains silent. Far away, jackals move through the darkness. Owls glide between trees. The natural world continues its own routines while people sleep. A fisherman wakes briefly during the night. He listens to the sounds around him. The soft breathing of family members. The distant insects. The faint rustle of leaves outside. Everything feels peaceful. Within moments, sleep returns. The stars continue crossing the sky. The moon slowly drifts westward. Time passes gently in the darkness. Eventually, the first hint of dawn appears. The change is subtle. Almost impossible to notice at first. The eastern horizon becomes slightly lighter. The stars nearest the horizon begin to fade. Birds awaken one by one. Their songs drift through the cool morning air. The village still sleeps. But morning is approaching. The cycle that has guided countless generations is preparing to begin again. Soon fires will be lit. Water will be gathered. Fields will fill with workers. Roads will carry merchants and travelers. Workshops will echo with the sounds of craft and labor. Another ordinary day in ancient India will unfold beneath the rising sun. But for now, in these final quiet moments before dawn, the world remains calm. The air is cool. The stars are fading. The river moves softly through the darkness. And the sleeping village rests peacefully beneath the vast and slowly brightening sky. The first light of dawn spreads quietly across the horizon. The stars begin to disappear one by one, fading into the pale colors of morning. Above the village, the sky changes from deep blue to soft gray, then slowly to shades of gold. A cool breeze drifts through the narrow lanes. For a short while, before the heat of the day arrives, the world feels fresh and calm. Birds awaken in the trees. Their calls echo across the rooftops. Some sound clear and bright. Others are soft and distant. Together they create the gentle music of another morning. The village is still mostly asleep. Only a few figures move through the darkness. A woman steps outside carrying an empty clay jar. Her sandals press softly against the earth as she walks toward the well. The air feels pleasant against her skin. She pauses for a moment and looks toward the east. The sun has not yet appeared, but its arrival is close. Around her, the village remains quiet. Smoke has not yet risen from the cooking fires. Children still sleep. Animals rest in their shelters. This brief time before sunrise belongs to the earliest risers. The woman reaches the well. Others are already there. A few familiar faces greet her with tired smiles. Their voices remain low. No one wishes to disturb the peaceful morning. The sound of water echoes softly from below. Clay jars are filled carefully. The work is routine. The movements are familiar. Yet there is something comforting about these repeated actions. The same path. The same well. The same neighbors. Day after day. Year after year. As the sky brightens, more people begin to wake. Doors open. Footsteps appear along the lanes. Cooking fires are lit. Thin ribbons of smoke rise into the cool air. Soon the scent of breakfast begins spreading through the village. Grain is ground. Flatbread is prepared. Water boils in clay pots. Families gather before the day's work begins. Inside one home, a young boy rubs sleep from his eyes. He can hear his parents moving around him. The smell of cooking fills the room. Outside, birds continue singing. Morning has arrived. He rises from his mat and steps into the growing light. The earth beneath his feet still holds some of the coolness of night. It will not last long. The sun is climbing. Soon the warmth will return. Across the village, workers prepare for another day. Farmers collect their tools. Fishermen inspect their nets. Craftsmen unlock workshops and arrange materials for the hours ahead. Everything follows a familiar rhythm. No one needs to be told what to do. The routines are deeply known. They live in memory. In habit. In daily practice. Near the edge of the village, an old farmer walks slowly toward his fields. His pace is steady. Years of labor have shaped the way he moves. The path before him is worn smooth from countless journeys. He knows every turn, every tree, every stone. The land feels like an old companion. The farmer reaches his crops just as the first rays of sunlight touch the earth. Golden light spreads across the fields. Tiny drops of dew sparkle briefly before disappearing. The plants stand quietly beneath the morning sky. The farmer kneels and examines them carefully. His hands move gently among the leaves. Every detail matters. A healthy crop means food. A healthy crop means security. The work requires patience. Nature cannot be rushed. Nearby, another farmer guides a pair of oxen through a field. The animals move slowly and steadily. Their breath rises in the cool air. Wooden equipment creaks softly behind them. The sound blends with birdsong and the rustle of leaves. The morning remains peaceful. Along the river, fishermen begin their work as well. The water is calm. Small boats drift away from shore. The surface reflects the growing light of the sun. A fisherman lowers his net into the river. The motion is smooth and practiced. He has repeated it thousands of times. The river provides both food and livelihood. In return, it demands patience. Some mornings are generous. Others are not. The fisherman accepts both. He watches the water quietly. There is no reason to hurry. The river moves according to its own rhythm. As the morning progresses, the village becomes busier. Children carry messages between households. Merchants arrange goods for trade. Potters prepare fresh clay. The sounds of work begin to fill the air. A carpenter lifts a piece of wood and studies it carefully. Sunlight falls across the grain. He considers the shape hidden inside it. Perhaps it will become a tool handle. Perhaps part of a cart. Perhaps a simple household object. His work begins with observation. Then comes patience. Slowly, the carpenter starts to shape the wood. The steady sound of his tools joins the growing chorus of village activity. Nearby, a weaver sits beside a loom. Threads stretch before her in neat rows. Her fingers move with remarkable precision. The work requires attention. A single mistake can affect the pattern. Yet the movements feel almost effortless. Years of experience guide her hands. The loom produces a gentle rhythm. A soft repeating sound that blends with the peaceful atmosphere of the morning. The sun climbs higher. Warmth spreads across the land. Shadows shorten. The cool hours of dawn begin to fade. Workers continue their tasks despite the growing heat. They know how the day will unfold. The hottest hours are still ahead. Energy must be used wisely. A group of merchants travels along a dusty road outside the village. Their ox carts move slowly beneath the sun. Wheels creak. Dust rises behind them. Bundles of goods are secured carefully. The journey may take several days. Perhaps longer. The road stretches across fields, forests, and distant settlements. Travel is not easy. Yet trade connects many communities. Through these journeys, goods move from place to place. Ideas travel as well. Stories pass between distant villages. News spreads slowly across the land. The merchants know they will sleep beneath different skies before returning home. But for now, they focus on the road ahead. The morning continues. The sun grows stronger. Workers wipe sweat from their brows. The heat settles across the landscape. Trees become welcome sources of shade. Water jars become increasingly important. Every sip brings relief. Every patch of shadow feels precious. Still, life continues. The farmer remains in the field. The fisherman remains on the river. The potter remains beside his wheel. The weaver remains at her loom. The carpenter remains at his workbench. Across the village, countless small tasks fill the hours. Most will never be remembered by history. No records will preserve them. No monuments will celebrate them. Yet these ordinary tasks sustain the community. Without them, daily life could not continue. A village is built not only by leaders or rulers. It is built by ordinary hands. Hands that plant seeds. Hands that shape clay. Hands that weave cloth. Hands that carry water. Hands that prepare meals. Hands that repair roofs and build walls. Every task matters. Every worker contributes. As noon approaches, the sunlight becomes bright and intense. The air feels heavier. The sounds of labor grow slightly quieter. People begin thinking about rest. About shade. About water. About the simple midday meal waiting ahead. The village slows once more beneath the powerful sun. And above it all, the sky stretches endlessly from horizon to horizon, watching another ordinary day unfold across the warm and ancient land. The sun hangs high above the village. Its light pours down across rooftops, fields, roads, and riverbanks. The cool freshness of morning has disappeared completely now. Warmth rises from the earth itself. Dust seems to float in the bright air, turning distant objects slightly hazy. The middle of the day has arrived. For many workers, these are the most difficult hours. The farmer in the field pauses beside a small tree. Its shade is limited, but even a little protection from the sun feels valuable. He sits on the ground and removes his hat for a moment. The breeze is weak. The air feels heavy. Insects hum quietly among the crops. For a few minutes, he simply rests. There is no conversation. No movement. Only the distant sounds of village life carried faintly across the fields. Nearby, oxen stand beneath another patch of shade. Their sides rise and fall slowly as they breathe. They too are resting. They too have worked since early morning. The entire landscape seems to move more slowly during these hot hours. Along the river, fishermen guide their boats toward calmer water. The sunlight dances across the surface in thousands of tiny flashes. Looking directly at the water can be almost blinding. One fisherman dips his hand into the river. The water feels cooler than the air. Refreshing. Comforting. For a moment he allows the current to flow between his fingers. Then he returns to his work. The river continues its endless journey. As it has for generations. As it will for generations still to come. Back in the village, many families gather for their midday meal. Inside homes built from clay and earth, the shade provides relief from the heat outside. The thick walls help keep rooms cooler. Small openings allow air to move gently through the space. People sit together on woven mats. Food is shared. Conversations remain quiet. No one feels inclined to speak loudly during the hottest part of the day. A child leans against his mother's shoulder. His eyelids grow heavy. The warmth and full stomach make him sleepy. Soon he drifts into a brief afternoon nap. Nearby, his grandfather smiles softly. Many generations have rested this way beneath the afternoon heat. The old man remembers doing the same when he was young. Some things change very little. Outside, the village streets are calmer than they were during the morning. Many people have retreated indoors. The marketplace remains open, but activity has slowed. Merchants sit beneath awnings stretched across wooden frames. The shade protects them from the strongest sunlight. Goods remain carefully arranged nearby. Baskets. Clay vessels. Bundles of cloth. Small tools. Jars of grain. The merchants wait patiently. There is no need for urgency. Customers will come when they come. Patience is part of daily life. A potter rests beside his workshop. The wheel stands still for now. Freshly shaped vessels dry nearby. Rows of bowls, jars, and pots catch the sunlight. Each one represents hours of careful work. The clay began as earth gathered from nearby ground. Water was added. Hands shaped it. Time allowed it to dry. Fire hardened it. Nothing is made quickly. Everything requires effort. The potter closes his eyes briefly. The warmth of the afternoon surrounds him. Somewhere nearby, a bird sings. The sound drifts through the still air. For a moment, the village feels almost asleep. At the edge of the settlement, a group of children play beneath a large tree. Even in the heat, children often find energy. Their laughter rises into the air. Small feet kick up dust as they run. Their games require little. A stick. A stone. A patch of open ground. Imagination provides the rest. An elderly woman watches them from a shaded doorway. The sight brings a quiet smile to her face. She has seen many children grow up in this village. Some are now farmers. Some are craftsmen. Some have families of their own. Time moves steadily forward. Yet afternoons like this seem almost timeless. The heat remains strong. Hours pass slowly. The sun continues its path across the sky. Gradually, almost without notice, the light begins to soften. The shadows grow slightly longer. A breeze returns. Not a strong breeze. Just enough to stir leaves and bring a little relief. People notice immediately. The hardest part of the day is ending. Workers begin returning to their tasks. The farmer rises from beneath the tree. His muscles feel stiff after resting. He stretches slowly and picks up his tools. There is still work to do before evening. The crops need attention. The day is not yet finished. Across the village, similar scenes unfold. The carpenter returns to his workbench. The blacksmith adds fuel to his furnace. The weaver settles once more before the loom. The fisherman checks his nets. The merchant rearranges goods at his stall. Life resumes its familiar rhythm. The sounds of labor gradually return. The tap of tools against wood. The hum of conversation. The creak of cart wheels. The distant call of animals. Together they create the gentle heartbeat of the village. Far beyond the settlement, a traveler walks along a dusty road. His sandals are covered with dirt from many days of travel. A small bundle hangs from his shoulder. The journey has been long. The sun has been relentless. When he sees the village in the distance, he feels relief. A place to rest. A place to find water. Perhaps a meal. Perhaps a shaded place to sleep. Travel in ancient India requires patience. Roads can be rough. Distances feel vast. The traveler knows there is still much of the journey ahead. But tonight's shelter is enough to think about for now. As afternoon slowly gives way to evening, the landscape changes once again. The sunlight becomes warmer. Golden. Gentle. Fields seem to glow beneath the lowering sun. The river reflects orange and yellow light. Even the dusty roads appear beautiful in these quiet hours. Birds return to the trees. Animals become more active. The oppressive heat finally begins to loosen its grip. Workers sense the approach of evening. Their movements become lighter. The knowledge that rest is near brings renewed energy. The farmer finishes his final task and looks toward the horizon. The sun is lower now. The sky is beginning to change color. Orange appears among the blue. Hints of pink emerge above distant trees. The day is slowly drawing to a close. Nearby, a young girl carries a clay water jar home. The vessel is heavy. She walks carefully along the path. The evening light falls across her face. Dust swirls gently around her feet. Ahead, smoke is already rising from cooking fires. Families are preparing for the evening meal. The village is preparing to gather once more. As she continues walking, voices drift through the air. Neighbors greeting one another. Children being called home. Merchants closing stalls. The sounds feel warm and familiar. The entire settlement seems to exhale after a long day. Soon lamps will be lit. Stories will be shared. Meals will be eaten. And beneath the slowly darkening sky, another peaceful evening will settle over the ordinary lives of ancient India, just as countless evenings have done before. The sun sinks lower and lower until its light touches only the highest branches of the trees. Across the village, the golden glow of evening spreads gently over walls of clay and earth. The heat of the afternoon begins to fade into memory. The ground still holds warmth from the long day, but the air has become softer now. People can feel the change. The hardest work is finished. The evening belongs to rest. Farmers leave the fields in small groups. Their tools hang from their shoulders. Dust covers their sandals. Their clothing carries the smell of soil, sunlight, and a day spent beneath the open sky. No one walks quickly. There is no reason to hurry. Home is waiting. As they move along the winding paths, they pass fields that have become quiet once more. The crops sway gently in the breeze. Birds settle among the branches of nearby trees. The sounds of labor fade behind them. Ahead, the village grows brighter with the warm glow of cooking fires. Smoke rises slowly into the evening sky. The smell of food drifts across the settlement. Flatbread bakes on warm surfaces. Pots of lentils simmer over low flames. Vegetables cook slowly. The familiar scents welcome people home. A farmer reaches his doorway and pauses. For a moment he stands quietly. The day is over. His muscles ache. His hands feel heavy. Yet there is satisfaction in this tiredness. The crops have been cared for. The work has been completed. Tomorrow will bring more labor. But tomorrow is still far away. Inside the house, his family prepares the evening meal. The room glows softly in the fading light. Children sit nearby, talking quietly about their day. The atmosphere feels peaceful. Comforting. Outside, the village becomes more lively. Not busy in the way it is during morning hours. Instead, it is filled with the gentle energy of people returning to one another. Neighbors stop to exchange a few words. Children play in open spaces before darkness arrives. Elders sit outside their homes where the evening breeze can reach them. Stories drift through the air. Small stories. Ordinary stories. A successful catch from the river. A stubborn ox in the field. A broken tool that needed repair. The arrival of a traveler from a distant village. These simple conversations help connect the community together. Near the center of the settlement, a merchant closes his stall for the day. He carefully gathers goods and stores them safely. The marketplace is beginning to empty. During daylight hours it served as a place of trade and activity. Now it slowly transforms into a quiet open space beneath the approaching night. Wooden tables stand empty. Baskets are stacked neatly. The dust settles. The merchant stretches his back. He has spent many hours seated or standing in the same place. The evening air feels wonderful against his skin. Nearby, a potter inspects several finished vessels. The clay has dried well. Tomorrow some of them will be fired. Others may be sold or traded. He runs his fingers gently along the smooth surface of a water jar. Years of practice have taught him exactly how it should feel. The vessel is simple. Yet it will become part of someone's daily life. Perhaps it will carry water from the well. Perhaps it will store grain. Perhaps it will sit quietly in a corner of a home for many years. The potter smiles softly before heading home. Along the riverbank, fishermen pull their boats ashore. The water reflects the colors of sunset. Orange. Gold. Pink. Soft purple. The river seems almost magical in this light. A fisherman folds his nets carefully. His hands move automatically. The routine is deeply familiar. The river has shaped much of his life. He knows its moods, its sounds, its changing levels throughout the seasons. Even after years beside the water, he still enjoys these quiet moments at sunset. The river feels peaceful, timeless. The fisherman watches the current for a few moments before turning toward the village. Behind him, the water continues flowing through the fading light. The sun finally touches the horizon. Slowly it disappears. Day gives way to evening. The sky remains bright for a little while longer. Then the colors begin to deepen. Blue becomes darker. Orange fades. The first stars appear overhead. Families gather for their meals. Inside homes throughout the village, people sit together and share food. The atmosphere is relaxed. The pressures of work have disappeared for the day. Laughter appears more easily now. Conversation flows naturally. An elderly woman tears a piece of bread and hands it to her grandchild. The child listens as she tells a story from long ago. The story is not about kings or battles. It is about a harvest. A difficult season. A family that worked together. The kind of story that passes from generation to generation. The kind of story that survives because it is remembered around evening meals like this one. Outside, darkness continues to spread. Oil lamps are lit. Tiny flames flicker inside homes. Their warm light dances across walls and ceilings. The glow feels comforting. Safe. The village appears beautiful beneath the night sky. Small lights shine here and there like scattered stars brought down to earth. A traveler arriving after sunset sees the lamps from a distance. They guide him toward shelter. Toward water. Toward rest. He follows the dusty road until he reaches the edge of the settlement. The long journey has left him tired. His feet ache. His shoulders feel stiff. Yet the sight of the village brings relief. Soon he will find a place to sleep. Tomorrow he will continue his journey. But tonight, he is simply grateful for rest. As the evening grows later, many people step outside for a few moments before bed. The air has cooled considerably. A pleasant breeze moves through the trees. Leaves rustle softly overhead. The stars multiply across the heavens. Without clouds, the sky appears endless. Children gaze upward. Adults do the same. The night sky has always inspired quiet wonder. No one fully understands its vastness. Yet everyone feels its presence. The stars seem ancient. Unchanging. Watching over countless generations. The same stars shone above grandparents and great-grandparents. The same stars watched over villages long forgotten. The same stars continue their silent journey tonight. Gradually, conversations become quieter. Families begin preparing for sleep. Lamps burn lower. Doors close. The sounds of the village soften. One by one, homes settle into silence. A mother arranges blankets for her children. A father stretches tired muscles before lying down. An old man whispers a final good night. Soon only the sounds of the night remain. Crickets sing among the grass. Leaves rustle in the breeze. The distant river continues its gentle movement through the darkness. The village sleeps. Its people rest after another ordinary day. Dreams replace labor. The fields wait patiently for dawn. The workshops stand silent. The marketplace rests beneath the moonlight. Hours pass slowly beneath the stars. The moon rises higher. Its pale light spills across rooftops and dusty roads. Everything appears calm. Everything appears still. And somewhere beyond the sleeping village, the first cool winds of midnight drift quietly across the ancient land, carrying with them the peaceful silence of another night in ancient India. Midnight settles gently across the ancient land. The village lies beneath a blanket of silver moonlight. The busy sounds of the day have completely disappeared now. No carts roll along the roads. No tools strike wood or stone. No voices drift from the marketplace. Only the quiet remains. The moon hangs high above the rooftops. Its pale light spills across courtyards, wells, storage jars, and sleeping animals. The shadows are soft. Nothing seems sharp or hurried in the darkness. A cool breeze moves through the village. It slips between narrow lanes and passes through open windows. It stirs hanging cloth and rustles leaves in the trees. Inside the homes, families sleep. Children curl beneath blankets. Parents rest after long hours of labor. Grandparents breathe slowly in the darkness. The day's work feels far away now. The fields are forgotten for a few precious hours. The workshops are silent. The river continues its journey unseen through the night. Near the edge of the village, a watchman remains awake. His task is simple. He walks slowly through the settlement, keeping an eye on things while others sleep. His footsteps are unhurried. The night belongs to patience. He passes familiar homes. Familiar paths. Familiar trees. Everything appears peaceful. The watchman pauses beside the well. Moonlight reflects softly from the water below. The surface remains still. For a moment he listens. He hears crickets. The distant call of an owl. The rustling of leaves overhead. Nothing more. Satisfied, he continues his quiet walk. Far beyond the village, the countryside rests beneath the same moon. Fields stretch toward the horizon. Their rows and patterns are hidden beneath darkness. Only faint outlines remain visible. The crops sway gently whenever the breeze passes through. A jackal moves silently along a distant path. An owl glides above a field. The night belongs to different creatures than the day. They move quietly through the darkness while humans sleep. Near the river, mist begins to gather above the water. The surface reflects the moon like polished metal. A fisherman sleeping nearby wakes briefly. Perhaps he heard a splash. Perhaps he simply shifted in a dream. For a few moments he watches the river. The calm water. The moonlight. The drifting mist. Everything feels peaceful. Soon his eyes grow heavy once again. Sleep returns. The river keeps flowing. Hours pass slowly. The moon continues its journey across the sky. Time moves differently at night. Without the activity of the day, each moment feels longer. More spacious. The village remains still. A clay lamp that burned late into the evening finally fades. Its tiny flame disappears. Darkness fills the room. Elsewhere, a dog lifts its head briefly before settling back down. Nothing disturbs the quiet. The night deepens. Above, countless stars fill the heavens. Ancient people spent much of their lives beneath these stars. They knew their patterns. They recognized familiar constellations. Night after night, year after year, the sky offered a sense of continuity. The stars remained even as seasons changed. Even as generations came and went. A young child sleeping in the village has never traveled far from home. Yet the same stars shine above distant rivers, forests, mountains, and deserts. The same stars shine above travelers sleeping beside roads. Above fishermen resting near water. Above merchants camped far from home. The night connects them all. Eventually, the darkest hour arrives. This is the quietest part of the night. The moon has begun to descend. The air feels cooler. Even the insects seem less active. For a short time, the entire world appears suspended between yesterday and tomorrow. The village rests deeply. The farmer sleeps. The potter sleeps. The weaver sleeps. The carpenter sleeps. The merchant sleeps. Their tired bodies recover from the demands of daily life. Muscles relax. Breathing slows. Dreams drift quietly through the darkness. Perhaps the farmer dreams of healthy crops. Perhaps the fisherman dreams of calm water. Perhaps the child dreams of tomorrow's games beneath the village trees. No one knows. The night keeps its secrets. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the first signs of dawn begin to appear. At first there is only the slightest change. The eastern horizon grows a little less dark. The stars nearest the edge of the sky begin to fade. Most people do not notice. They remain asleep. The transformation is gradual. Patient. The world does not rush into morning. It arrives one small step at a time. A bird awakens in a tree near the village. Its song is soft. Then another bird answers. Soon a few more voices join in. The sounds remain scattered at first. Gentle. Tentative. As though the birds themselves are waking slowly. The cool breeze continues moving across the land. Mist hangs above the river. The fields appear gray in the dim light before sunrise. Shapes begin to emerge from darkness. Trees. Roofs. Paths. Walls. The village slowly becomes visible once again. An elderly woman wakes before the others. Years of rising early have become a habit. She sits quietly for a moment. The room remains dark. Her family still sleeps. Outside, the first birds continue singing. She listens. Morning is coming. The old woman rises carefully and steps outside. The air feels cool and pleasant. The sky is beginning to brighten. She looks toward the horizon where a faint band of gold has appeared. It is a beautiful moment. One that repeats every day. Yet somehow it never becomes ordinary. Around her, the village remains peaceful. The fires are not yet lit. The roads are empty. The well stands silent. For a few precious minutes, she has the morning almost entirely to herself. Soon that will change. Soon the village will awaken. Children will stir from sleep. Doors will open. Smoke will rise from cooking fires. Farmers will walk toward the fields. Craftsmen will return to their workshops. Merchants will prepare for trade. The familiar rhythm will begin again. But not yet. For now, dawn lingers at the edge of the world. The stars continue fading. The sky grows brighter. Birdsong spreads through the trees. The river catches the first hints of morning light. Its surface glows softly beneath the awakening sky. The ancient land stretches quietly beneath the coming day. Another ordinary day waits just beyond the horizon. A day of labor. A day of conversation. A day of meals shared with family. A day of simple routines repeated across countless villages. The people do not know exactly what the day will bring. Yet they rise to meet it as generations before them have done. Patiently. Steadily. Beneath the endless sky. And as the first rays of sunlight begin touching the rooftops of the sleeping village, the long cycle of ancient life prepares to turn once more. The first rays of sunlight reach the village slowly. They touch the highest branches of the trees before sliding down to the rooftops below. Clay walls begin to glow with soft shades of gold. The cool darkness of night retreats into shadows and corners. Morning has arrived once again. The village awakens gradually. No bell announces the day. No loud signal breaks the silence. Instead, life returns through small sounds. A wooden door opens. A rooster calls. A clay jar is lifted from the floor. Birds continue their songs from the trees. Together these sounds create the gentle beginning of another ordinary day. The elderly woman who woke before dawn is already busy. She kneels beside the cooking area inside her home. The ashes from last night's fire remain beneath the clay hearth. Carefully, she adds fresh fuel. Soon a small flame appears. It flickers softly in the dim light. The warmth begins to spread through the room. Outside, smoke rises from a few neighboring homes. Others are waking too. Across the village, families begin moving through familiar routines. Children slowly emerge from sleep. Some sit quietly for a few moments, still wrapped in dreams. Others are awake immediately, eager to begin the day. Parents prepare simple morning meals. Water is poured into cups. Grain is ground. Flatbread is baked. The smell of breakfast drifts through the air. It mingles with the scent of damp earth left behind by the cool night. The combination feels comforting. Familiar. At the well, the first groups of villagers arrive carrying clay jars. The path leading there is already becoming busy. The well serves as one of the village's gathering places. People exchange greetings. News travels from one household to another. Small conversations unfold naturally. A woman mentions that her daughter is recovering from an illness. A neighbor speaks about crops growing well this season. Another discusses repairs needed on a roof before the rains arrive. The conversations are simple. Yet they help hold the community together. The well itself remains unchanged. Its stones have been worn smooth by countless hands over many years. Its water reflects the brightening sky above. Generation after generation has gathered here. The routine continues. Meanwhile, beyond the village, farmers begin their journey toward the fields. The morning air still feels pleasant. This is the best time for heavy labor. The sun has not yet grown harsh. A farmer walks beside his oxen along a familiar dirt path. The animals move steadily. Dust rises softly around their feet. Ahead, the fields wait beneath the early sunlight. The farmer glances toward the sky. It is clear today. Only a few small clouds drift in the distance. Weather always occupies part of his thoughts. Rain can bring abundance. Too little rain can bring worry. The land provides many lessons in patience. The farmer has learned not to rush what cannot be rushed. He reaches the field and begins his work. Nearby, other farmers do the same. From a distance, they appear as small figures moving across the landscape. Each one focused on the tasks before them. Each one contributing to the life of the village. The sounds of labor slowly return. Wood creaks. Tools scrape against soil. Animals snort softly. Birds circle overhead. Morning settles comfortably into its rhythm. Near the river, fishermen are already on the water. Their boats glide across the calm surface. The sunlight sparkles in long paths stretching across the river. The scene feels peaceful. Almost timeless. One fisherman pauses for a moment to watch the reflection of clouds drifting above. The river mirrors the sky perfectly. For a brief instant, the world seems balanced between water and air. Then a small ripple breaks the reflection. The moment passes. Work continues. Back in the village, craftsmen begin opening their workshops. The carpenter arranges pieces of wood beside his workbench. The blacksmith prepares his furnace. The potter examines fresh clay gathered earlier. The weaver checks the threads on her loom. Each craft requires attention. Each craft has its own rhythm. The carpenter enjoys the scent of newly cut wood. The potter enjoys the feeling of clay between his fingers. The weaver enjoys the steady movement of thread becoming cloth. Their work is demanding, but it also contains moments of quiet satisfaction. Hours pass gently. The village becomes increasingly active. Children carry messages between households. Goats wander through narrow lanes. Merchants organize goods for sale. The marketplace slowly fills with life. A merchant spreads cloth across a wooden table. Nearby, another arranges pottery. Others display baskets, tools, grain, and household items. People arrive throughout the morning. Some come to trade. Others simply come to talk. The marketplace is more than a place of commerce. It is also a place of connection. Neighbors meet there. Travelers share stories. News from distant places sometimes arrives there first. A traveler entering the village this morning attracts quiet attention. His clothing carries dust from many roads. His sandals show signs of long journeys. People wonder where he has come from. Perhaps another village. Perhaps a distant town. Perhaps somewhere much farther away. The traveler stops to drink water and rest. Soon he begins speaking with local merchants. Stories are exchanged. Questions are asked. The village learns a little about the world beyond its boundaries. The traveler learns a little about the village. These encounters are small. Yet they remind people that larger lands exist beyond the horizon. As the sun climbs higher, warmth spreads across the settlement. Shadows shorten. The morning coolness begins to fade. Workers feel the temperature rising. Water becomes more important. Shade becomes more valuable. The day continues steadily forward. Near a cluster of trees, several children gather while completing chores. One carries firewood. Another helps watch a small group of goats. A third accompanies an older sibling to gather water. Work and childhood often exist side by side. Responsibility arrives early. Yet there is still room for laughter. Still room for curiosity. Still room for wonder. The children pause briefly to watch a line of ants crossing the path. Something so small captures their attention completely. For a few moments, the world consists only of tiny moving insects and endless questions. Then they continue on their way. The village hums softly with activity. Nothing dramatic occurs. No great event interrupts the day. And that is precisely what makes it peaceful. Life moves through familiar patterns. People know what is expected of them. They know the paths they must walk. They know the tasks waiting for them. The predictability brings comfort. The sun rises higher still. The air grows warmer. Soon the bright hours of midday will arrive once again. The fields will shimmer beneath the heat. The roads will become dusty and quiet. Workers will seek shade and rest. But for now, the morning remains alive with movement. The farmer works among his crops. The fisherman guides his boat along the river. The potter shapes clay. The carpenter smooths wood. The weaver creates cloth thread by thread. And throughout the village, countless ordinary lives continue beneath the gentle light of another ancient morning, following rhythms that have endured for generations and will continue long after the sun has crossed the sky once more. The morning gradually gives way to midday. The sun continues its steady climb until it stands high above the village. Its light grows brighter and stronger with each passing hour. The shadows that stretched across the ground at dawn have become short and faint. Warmth settles over the land. The roofs of homes absorb the sunlight. The dusty roads grow hotter beneath passing feet. The fields shimmer gently in the distance. The village continues its work, though the pace begins to slow. People understand the rhythm of the day. Morning is for energy. Midday is for endurance. Evening is for rest. In the fields, farmers continue tending their crops. Sweat gathers on their foreheads. Their hands move steadily through rows of plants. The work is repetitive. Yet there is comfort in repetition. Each task follows another. One row after the next. One season after the next. The farmer rarely thinks about history. He thinks about water. About weather. About healthy crops. About providing enough food for his family. These concerns occupy much of his attention. The future of the harvest matters far more than distant events. Nearby, a younger farmer works alongside his father. The older man offers occasional advice. A few words here and there. A reminder about the soil. A suggestion about irrigation. Most lessons are simple. Most knowledge comes through observation. The younger farmer watches carefully. One day these responsibilities will belong to him. For now, he learns. The fields themselves become teachers. Along the river, the sunlight reflects brightly from the water. Fishermen narrow their eyes against the glare. The river remains calm today. Its surface moves gently beneath the boats. A fisherman checks his nets. His movements are patient and practiced. The rhythm of the river has shaped his life. Some days are productive. Others are not. He has learned not to fight the river's nature. Patience serves him better. Nearby, another fisherman sits quietly in his boat. For a few moments he simply listens. The sound of water against wood. The distant call of birds. The breeze moving across the river. The world feels peaceful. Even while working, moments of stillness can be found. Back in the village, the marketplace remains active despite the growing heat. Merchants sit beneath cloth coverings that provide shade. Customers move more slowly now. Many pause before speaking. The warmth encourages calm conversation. No one rushes. A merchant carefully folds a piece of cloth before placing it beside other goods. His hands move with care. The cloth represents many hours of labor. The work of growing cotton. The work of spinning thread. The work of weaving. Every object in the marketplace carries a story of effort behind it. Nearby, a customer examines a clay vessel. The pot feels cool despite the heat outside. Its smooth surface reflects the skill of the potter who made it. Simple objects often require remarkable craftsmanship. The customer nods with approval. The potter smiles quietly. No grand celebration is needed. A job done well brings its own satisfaction. As the day grows warmer, more people seek shade. Trees become gathering places. The spaces beside walls become valuable. Even small patches of shadow attract tired workers. A group of elders sits beneath a large tree near the edge of the village. The branches spread wide above them. The air feels noticeably cooler there. The elders speak softly. Their conversation moves slowly from one topic to another. They discuss crops, weather, families, memories from years gone by. One man recalls a season when rains arrived earlier than expected. Another remembers a flood from long ago. The younger villagers sometimes listen to these stories. Not because the events are extraordinary, but because they connect the present to the past. The stories help preserve memory. The old tree has heard many such conversations over the years. Generation after generation has rested beneath its shade. The tree remains. People come and go. Time continues. Near one home, a mother prepares food for the midday meal. The cooking fire burns steadily. The scent of bread and lentils drifts into the warm air. Children sit nearby. One watches the flames dance beneath the clay pot. Another traces patterns in the dust with a stick. The simple moments of daily life often pass unnoticed. Yet they fill most of human existence. The meal is nearly ready. Soon family members will gather. For a little while, work will pause. The opportunity to sit together is always welcome. Elsewhere, a potter continues his work despite the heat. The wheel turns slowly beneath his hands. A lump of clay rises and changes shape. What was once formless begins to resemble a vessel. The transformation feels almost magical. Yet it is entirely the result of skill and patience. The potter understands every movement required. Years of practice guide his hands. He rarely thinks about the process anymore. His body remembers. The clay responds. A new jar takes shape. The sunlight outside grows intense. Inside the workshop, shadows offer some relief. The air remains warm, but manageable. The potter continues working. One vessel after another. One day after another. One year after another. The rhythm of his life feels steady. Reliable. Comforting. By now, the hottest part of the day has nearly arrived. The roads become quieter. Animals rest wherever shade can be found. Dogs lie beneath carts. Goats gather beneath trees. Birds hide among thick leaves. The entire village seems to slow its breathing. Even sounds become softer. The heat encourages stillness. A traveler passing along a nearby road notices the change immediately. The morning felt lively. Now the landscape feels calm. Almost sleepy. The traveler adjusts the cloth covering his head and continues walking. Dust rises around his sandals. His journey remains long. The road stretches far beyond the horizon. Yet he walks steadily. One step at a time. Travel often teaches patience. The road rewards those who accept its pace. As noon approaches, the sunlight becomes brilliant. The air shimmers above the ground. Fields appear almost golden beneath the heat. Workers begin preparing for rest. Tools are set aside temporarily. Water jars are shared. Shade becomes the most valuable place in the world. The farmer sits beneath a tree. The fisherman pulls his boat toward shore. The merchant leans back beneath an awning. The carpenter places down his tools. The weaver stretches tired fingers. For a short time, the village pauses. Not completely. Life never stops entirely. But it slows. Breathes. Rests. The sounds of labor fade into the background. In their place come quieter sounds. Wind moving through leaves. Birds calling from distant branches. The soft murmur of conversation. The occasional creak of wood. The village settles into the gentle stillness of midday. Above, the sky remains vast and cloudless. The sun watches over fields, roads, rivers, workshops, and homes. Another ordinary day unfolds exactly as countless days have unfolded before. And beneath that bright ancient sky, the people of the village move patiently through their routines, finding moments of peace within the simple rhythms that shape their lives. The village rests beneath the full weight of the afternoon sun. For a little while, the pace of life becomes slower than at any other time of day. The brightest hours have arrived. The roads that were busy during the morning now appear almost empty. Dust lies undisturbed along the paths. The marketplace grows quieter. Even the animals seem reluctant to move very far. Heat shimmers above the fields. The air itself appears to tremble. A farmer sits beneath the broad shade of a neem tree at the edge of his land. His tools rest nearby. A clay water jar stands beside him, cool to the touch despite the warmth surrounding it. He drinks slowly. There is no reason to rush. The afternoon teaches patience. The farmer gazes across his crops. Rows of green stretch toward the horizon. The plants move gently whenever a breeze passes through. Watching them brings a quiet sense of satisfaction. Many months of labor live within those fields. Seeds planted. Water carried. Weeds removed. So much effort hidden beneath the surface. The harvest is still some time away. Yet every day brings it closer. Nearby, another farmer dozes lightly beneath a tree. His hat shades his face. The sounds of insects drift through the warm air. For a few minutes, sleep comes easily. The body welcomes rest after hours of work. Throughout the village, many others take similar pauses. A weaver sits beside her loom. Her hands are still. The threads wait patiently. A potter leans against a wall inside his workshop. Fresh clay vessels dry nearby. The room remains cooler than the bright sunlight outside. The potter closes his eyes and listens. Somewhere in the distance, he hears a bird calling. A cartwheel creaks. A child laughs. The sounds come and go like small waves. Nothing disturbs the calm. Near the well, only a few people remain. Most have already gathered enough water for the afternoon. The well sits quietly beneath the sun. Its stone edges are warm. Its water remains cool. A young girl arrives carrying a clay jar almost as large as her torso. She lowers the bucket carefully. The rope slides through her hands. The splash of water echoes upward. The sound feels refreshing on such a hot day. Soon her jar is filled. She begins the walk home. The water shifts gently inside the vessel with every step. She moves carefully. A single mistake could spill precious water onto the ground. The village depends upon caution and care. Nothing is wasted. As the afternoon continues, shadows begin growing longer. The change is subtle at first. Almost impossible to notice. Yet slowly the position of the sun shifts. The light becomes softer. The harsh brightness starts to ease. Workers sense it immediately. The most difficult part of the day is passing. A blacksmith steps outside his workshop and wipes sweat from his brow. The furnace has made the heat feel even more intense. His arms ache from labor. His clothing carries the smell of smoke and metal. Yet the slight cooling of the air brings relief. He takes a long drink of water before returning to his work. Inside the workshop, tools hang neatly from walls. Metal objects rest upon wooden surfaces. Everything has its place. Years of practice have created habits as steady as the seasons. Nearby, the carpenter continues shaping a piece of wood. Small curls fall to the ground around his feet. The scent of fresh wood fills the air. His hands move with quiet confidence. Each cut serves a purpose. Each movement brings the object closer to completion. The carpenter enjoys the stage of the work. The slow transformation. The gradual appearance of shape from raw material. Patience is rewarded. Across the village, children begin emerging from shaded homes once again. The heat remains strong, but it is no longer overwhelming. Groups gather beneath trees. Games resume. Small adventures unfold among dusty paths and courtyards. A stick becomes a sword. A stone becomes treasure. A patch of open ground becomes an entire world. Their laughter drifts through the air. The sound feels light and cheerful. An elderly man watches from his doorway. His eyes follow the children as they run. For a moment he remembers his own childhood. Many years have passed since then. The village looked slightly different. Some buildings were newer. Some trees were smaller. Many familiar faces have disappeared with time. Yet the laughter of children remains unchanged. It echoes across generations. As the afternoon slowly moves toward evening, merchants begin preparing for one final period of activity. The marketplace grows busier once more. People emerge from the shade. Conversations return. Goods are examined. Trades are discussed. The village seems to awaken after its midday pause. A traveler who arrived earlier in the day now sits beneath a canopy speaking with local merchants. Stories pass between them. News travels slowly in the ancient world. A traveler often carries information as valuable as any object. He describes distant roads, nearby villages, weather conditions, harvests in other regions. The listeners pay close attention. Such knowledge can be useful. It can also be entertaining. Stories from far away bring variety to familiar routines. The traveler speaks calmly. The merchants listen. The afternoon drifts onward. Far beyond the village, fields glow beneath the changing sunlight. The river reflects the sky like polished glass. Birds begin returning to their favorite resting places. The landscape itself seems to relax. A fisherman stands beside the water watching the current. His work is nearly finished for the day. The river moves steadily past him. The same water will continue flowing long after he has gone home. The thought feels strangely comforting. Human lives are brief. The river endures. Generation after generation has stood beside these waters. Generation after generation has watched the same current pass. The fisherman smiles softly and begins gathering his nets. The village waits for evening. The signs are everywhere now. The sunlight has become golden. The air feels gentler. The shadows stretch farther across the ground. Workers glance toward the horizon. The end of the day's labor approaches. A woman begins preparing the evening meal. A farmer finishes his final task. A merchant arranges goods for tomorrow. A potter covers fresh clay to keep it from drying. One by one, people begin closing the chapter of another ordinary day. The sky slowly changes color. Blue deepens. Gold spreads across the horizon. The first hints of orange appear in the west. The village prepares to gather once more. Families will soon sit together. Cooking fires will glow. Stories will be shared. The tiredness of labor will give way to the comfort of evening. And as the sun begins its gentle descent toward the horizon, the ancient village settles into that peaceful hour between work and rest, when the air cools, the light softens, and the world seems to breathe a little more slowly beneath the endless sky. The golden light of late afternoon settles across the village like a soft blanket. Every surface seems warmer in color now. The clay walls glow with shades of amber and honey. The dusty roads shine gently beneath the lowering sun. Even the leaves of the trees appear touched by gold. The day is beginning its slow journey toward evening. People can feel it. The air has changed. The intense heat of midday has finally loosened its grip. A pleasant breeze moves through the settlement. It carries the scent of earth, cooking fires being prepared, and distant river water. Farmers continue finishing their final tasks in the fields. One man bends to inspect a small section of crops before gathering his tools. He moves carefully, making sure everything is in order before leaving. The land has occupied his attention since sunrise. Soon it will rest until morning. The farmer straightens and looks toward the village. Smoke is already beginning to rise into the evening sky. Home is waiting. The thought brings quiet comfort. Nearby, a group of workers walk together along a narrow path. Their conversation drifts softly through the air. Nothing important is discussed. They speak about weather, about crops, about small events from the day. Ordinary topics. Yet these conversations help the long walk pass pleasantly. The road beneath their feet is familiar. They have walked it thousands of times. Each bend and curve feels known. Each tree stands where it always has. The landscape feels like an old friend. Along the riverbank, fishermen pull their boats onto shore. The water reflects the colors of the changing sky. Gold, orange, hints of rose-colored light. The river moves quietly. Its surface broken only by occasional ripples. One fisherman kneels beside his boat and begins folding a net. His hands move with practiced ease. Years of repetition have turned the task into a kind of meditation. Fold. Check. Adjust. Repeat. The simple rhythm calms the mind. Nearby, another fisherman watches birds crossing the sky. They travel toward distant trees where they will spend the night. The sight reminds him that the day is ending. Soon darkness will arrive. Back in the village, children play in open spaces between homes. The cooler air has brought fresh energy. Their laughter echoes through the lanes. Some chase one another through the dust. Others invent games using sticks and stones. The smallest things can become sources of endless fascination. A smooth pebble. A fallen leaf. A curious insect crossing the ground. The world feels large and full of wonder to young eyes. An elderly woman sits outside her doorway watching them. The evening breeze lifts a few strands of gray hair around her face. She smiles softly. Many years ago she played similar games in these same lanes. Many years ago she ran across the same dusty ground. Time has passed quietly. The village has changed little. The rhythm remains. Children grow. Adults work. Elders remember. The cycle continues. Near the marketplace, merchants begin packing away goods for the night. The busiest hours are over. Customers become fewer as people return home for evening meals. A merchant carefully wraps several pieces of cloth. Another stacks pottery inside a sheltered area. The work is methodical. Nothing is rushed. Tomorrow the market will open again. Tomorrow another day of trade will begin. There is comfort in knowing that some things return reliably. Day after day. Season after season. A traveler who arrived earlier remains in the village. He sits beneath a tree speaking with several local men. The shadows have grown long around them. The traveler tells stories about roads beyond the horizon. About villages near distant rivers. About forests filled with unfamiliar birds. His listeners lean forward slightly. Such stories offer a glimpse of places they may never see. For a little while, imagination travels where feet cannot. As the sun lowers further, cooking fires begin appearing throughout the village. Small flames flicker inside homes and courtyards. Thin streams of smoke rise into the still air. The smell of evening meals spreads quickly. Bread baking. Rice cooking. Vegetables simmering. The scents mingle together until the entire village seems wrapped in warmth. Families gather. The workday is ending. Inside one home, a mother stirs a pot while her children sit nearby. The room glows with soft orange light from the fire. Outside, birds settle into the trees. The sounds of evening surround the house. The children listen as their mother hums quietly while preparing food. The melody is simple, gentle, comforting. The kind of sound that becomes part of memory without anyone realizing it. Nearby, a grandfather returns home carrying a bundle of firewood. His pace is slow. His joints ache more than they once did. Yet there is satisfaction in completing even simple tasks. He places the wood beside the wall and sits down carefully. The evening air feels pleasant on his skin. For a few moments he simply watches the sky. The colors continue changing. The horizon burns softly with orange and gold. Above it, deeper shades of blue begin spreading across the heavens. Soon the first stars will appear. The old man has watched this transformation thousands of times. Yet it never loses its beauty. Nature repeats itself endlessly. Still, each evening feels slightly different. A different breeze. Different clouds. Different sounds. The world remains familiar while constantly changing. As darkness approaches, animals begin settling for the night. Goats gather together inside enclosures. Cattle rest after a long day. Dogs find comfortable places near doorways. Birdsong gradually fades. The village grows calmer. The energy of daytime slowly melts away. Workers who spent hours beneath the sun now enjoy the simple pleasure of sitting quietly. A farmer washes dust from his hands. A potter examines a finished vessel. A weaver folds cloth completed earlier in the day. The tasks are small. The moments are peaceful. The sky darkens further. One star appears. Then another. Soon dozens become visible overhead. The village enters its favorite hour. Not morning. Not midday. But evening. The gentle space between labor and sleep. Families gather around meals. Stories are shared. Questions are asked. Children speak about their adventures. Elders offer advice. Laughter rises occasionally from one home or another. Nothing dramatic happens. No great event unfolds. Yet these ordinary evenings become the memories people carry throughout their lives. Years later, few will remember a particular day in the field. Few will remember a specific task completed in a workshop. But many will remember evenings like this. The warmth of the meal. The sound of familiar voices. The glow of firelight against clay walls. The feeling of safety as darkness settles outside. The stars continue multiplying overhead. The sky becomes deeper and darker. Night is arriving. The village prepares to slow once again. Cooking fires burn steadily. Oil lamps wait nearby. Families linger together for a little while longer before sleep. And above the ancient village, beneath a sky filled with countless stars, another peaceful evening unfolds with the same gentle rhythm that has guided generations through the quiet passage of time. Night settles fully over the village. The last traces of sunlight disappear beyond the horizon, leaving the land beneath a vast canopy of stars. The warm colors of evening fade into deep shades of blue and black. Above, countless points of light shine quietly in the darkness. The air feels cooler now. After a long day beneath the sun, the change is welcome. A gentle breeze drifts through the narrow lanes between homes. It rustles leaves overhead and carries away the heat that lingered in the earth. Throughout the village, Oil lamps glow softly. Their small flames flicker behind doorways and windows. From a distance, the settlement appears dotted with tiny golden lights. Each lamp marks a home, a family, a gathering place. Inside one house, a family finishes its evening meal. The clay bowls are nearly empty. Conversation continues in low voices. No one seems eager to rush toward sleep. The peaceful hours after dinner feel valuable. The day's work is done. Tomorrow's responsibilities can wait until morning. For now, there is only the comfort of being together. A grandfather leans against the wall and begins telling a story. His voice is calm and unhurried. The children listen closely. The story speaks of a journey made many years ago, when he was still young and strong. He describes distant roads, wide rivers, dense forests. The children imagine every detail. Their eyes reflect the glow of the nearby lamp. Outside, the night grows deeper. Elsewhere in the village, another family sits quietly beneath the stars. The roof of their home remains pleasantly warm from the day's sunlight. They enjoy the cool air while it lasts. Above them, the sky seems endless. A young boy points toward a bright star. His mother smiles. She has seen that same star every night of her life. Her parents saw it. Her grandparents saw it. The star has watched countless generations come and go. Yet it remains steady, silent, ancient. The thought brings a strange sense of comfort. Near the edge of the village, the traveler who arrived earlier has finally settled for the night. His long journey has left him tired. A simple sleeping mat feels luxurious after days spent on dusty roads. He lies beneath a blanket and listens to the sounds of the village. They are different from those of the places he visited before. Every settlement has its own character, its own rhythm, its own voice. Yet there are similarities too. Families gathering, children laughing, cooking fires fading into darkness. The traveler closes his eyes. Soon sleep carries him away. In another part of the village, a potter sits outside his home for a few final moments before bed. The moon has risen above the trees. Its pale light spills across the ground. The potter watches the shadows shift gently in the breeze. Tomorrow he will return to his workshop. Tomorrow fresh clay will spin upon the wheel. Tomorrow more vessels will take shape beneath his hands. But tonight, work feels very far away. The silence of the night surrounds him. He enjoys it. Across the settlement, similar scenes unfold. A farmer stretches tired muscles. A carpenter stores away his tools. A weaver folds a completed piece of cloth. Small routines mark the end of the day. Habits practiced so often that they require little thought. The body remembers what to do. The night moves slowly. The marketplace stands empty beneath the moonlight. During the day it was filled with voices and movement. Now it rests. Wooden stalls cast long shadows across the ground. Baskets sit quietly beside walls. Dust settles undisturbed. The transformation feels complete. Day has surrendered fully to night. Near the well, everything is silent. No jars are being filled. No conversations drift through the air. The water below reflects a small piece of the moon. The surface remains still. Calm. Patient. The well waits for morning. Far beyond the village, the countryside sleeps beneath the same sky. Fields stretch across the darkness. Trees stand motionless. The river continues its endless journey through the night. Mist begins forming above the water. The moonlight gives it a silver glow. A fisherman sleeping near the riverbank stirs briefly. The sound of flowing water reaches his ears. It is a sound he has known since childhood. So familiar that it feels almost like breathing. The river never truly sleeps. It moves through every season, every storm, every drought, every generation. The fisherman settles back into sleep. The current flows on. Hours pass quietly. One by one, the lamps inside homes burn lower. Families prepare for rest. Children grow sleepy first. Their voices become softer. Their eyelids heavier. Soon they curl beneath blankets and drift into dreams. Adults remain awake a little longer. A few final words are exchanged. A few final tasks are completed. Then they too surrender to sleep. The village grows still. The sounds of conversation disappear. Only the natural sounds of the night remain. Crickets sing among the grass. Leaves whisper in the breeze. An owl calls from a distant tree. The moon climbs higher. Its light spreads across rooftops and dusty roads. The sleeping village appears peaceful. Almost timeless. It is easy to imagine that the scene has remained unchanged for centuries. Perhaps in many ways it has. The details may differ. The people may change. Yet the rhythm remains remarkably similar. Morning. Work. Eat. Evening. Rest. Night. Then morning once again. The cycle continues endlessly. A young child sleeping tonight will one day become an adult. The farmer working in the fields will grow old. The stories told around evening fires will pass to new generations. Time moves forward quietly. Never stopping. Never hurrying. The stars continue their slow journey overhead. The moon drifts westward. The night deepens. This is the quietest part of the day. A time when worries seem distant. A time when labor pauses. A time when the village can simply rest. The earth cools beneath the darkness. Dew begins forming on leaves and rooftops. The air feels fresh. Comfortable. Peaceful. And as midnight approaches across the ancient land, the village sleeps soundly beneath the watchful stars, wrapped in silence, surrounded by familiar dreams, and carried gently through another calm and ordinary night in ancient India. As the night grows deeper, the village becomes quieter than it has been all day. The last lamp has long since faded. The final conversation has drifted into silence. The roads rest beneath moonlight. The marketplace sleeps. The workshops stand still. The fields wait patiently beneath the stars. Across the village, families lie sleeping within homes of clay and earth. The farmers rest after tending their crops. The fishermen dream beside the river. The potters, weavers, carpenters, merchants, and laborers all surrender themselves to the peaceful darkness. Their names may be forgotten. History may not remember the details of their lives. Yet for countless generations, ordinary people like these formed the heart of ancient India. They woke with the dawn. They worked beneath the sun. They shared meals with family. They walked familiar roads. They watched the seasons change. And at the end of each day, they rested beneath the same sky that stretches above us still. Beyond the village, the river continues its quiet journey through the darkness. Its waters move softly beneath the moon. The current slips past reeds and stones. Past sleeping boats. Past silent riverbanks. The river does not hurry. It never has. It simply flows onward through the centuries. The night air grows cooler. Dew settles gently upon leaves. A faint breeze moves through the trees. The stars shine brightly overhead, scattered across the heavens like countless tiny lamps. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls once. Then silence returns. The ancient land rests. The fields rest. The river rests in its own endless way. The village rests. And slowly, very slowly, the world seems to grow softer. The sounds become more distant. The shadows become gentler. The stars continue their silent journey across the sky. Nothing needs to be done now. The day's work is complete. The roads are empty. The cooking fires are cold. The stories have been told. The village sleeps peacefully beneath the vast night. And beside the quiet river, Beneath the watchful stars of ancient India, the darkness settles like a blanket across the earth. The water flows softly. The breeze whispers through the trees. The stars shine above. And the ancient world drifts gently into silence.